if you are facing felony charges, then I know you're probably not feeling very lucky right now, but you are actually in luck because in this video, I'm going to be describing a secret to get out of felony charges that for real is a secret. Not even a lot of attorneys know this. My name is Veronica and I'm a criminal defense attorney here in California. I help people put their cases behind them so that they can enjoy their lives and their freedom. And again, in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you a secret way to get out of felony charges that not even a lot of criminal defense attorneys know here in California. And if you haven't been to court yet, this doesn't yet apply to you, so you can watch this video to know what your options may be. But if you haven't been to court yet, the most important thing is to have an attorney contact the DA and try to get everything dropped before court. But that said, let's say that you have been to court, for sure you've been charged with a felony, and you're thinking, oh my God, this is going to ruin my life. It's going to ruin my job prospects, housing, everything that I have worked so hard for. And maybe you've been told, hey, we got this offer for you. It's felony probation. Don't worry, you can get the felony expunged in a few years. The problem with that is that even if you get a felony expunged from your record, what will show up on any background checking service that uses the FBI database, the Department of Justice database, to get your information, what it will show is that you had a felony charge that was ultimately reduced to a misdemeanor and dismissed. That's not the same as having nothing on your record. And if you have licensing issues, and I always think of, if it were me, my biggest concern wouldn't be, as long as it's a low-level felony, it wouldn't be jail or prison. That's probably not going to happen. It would be more the State Bar of California coming down on me and taking my license away and my livelihood and everything that I've worked so hard for. So how do you get around all that and make sure that without going to trial and risking all of that, you make sure that you do not get a felony on your record? Here's how it works, and the first part's going to sound scary. You would plead no contest to a felony. Okay, now bear with me. So in court, you plead no contest, right? But then here's the secret. You put over sentencing for a period of time. It could be a year, it could be 6 months, it could be in some cases longer. During that time, you complete certain conditions. The conditions could be just don't get arrested again. The conditions could be do a certain amount of community service or classes. So at the end of that period of time, you come back to court, you get sentenced. I know it still sounds scary. Really, just bear with me, trust me. At that point in time, your plea to the felony, it's not a conviction, the plea to the felony, vacated. It goes away completely. And at that point in time, you can be sentenced to a misdemeanor. And at the same time, as long as the judge agrees, you can also have the case expunged from your record. So your record, instead of showing that you were convicted of a felony and then you got it reduced to a misdemeanor and dismissed, basically an expungement, it will instead not show anything about the felony and will just show that there was a misdemeanor that was ultimately dismissed. Now, I know you might still be thinking, Veronica, are you crazy? You said that I'm going to plead, guilty, no contest to a felony? Okay, but remember, it's not a conviction. It won't go on your record. Basically, what it means is that you're showing the court during that period of time that you're not going to get in trouble. You are not the sort of person who should have a felony on your record. And you're more than willing to do whatever it takes, whether it's classes, community service, whatever the court is asking you to do, to earn a misdemeanor, to make sure that you're never going to have that felony on your record because you want to protect your future, your freedom, your life. And this is an option that attorneys should use in tough cases. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, if you have not been to court yet, this is not option one. The first option is try to get them to dismiss it before court. The second option is try to get them to give classes in exchange for a complete dismissal, which is hard to get. But if you can get that, then your background check won't even show a misdemeanor that was expunged. It won't show anything. And a step after that is asking for a straight misdemeanor. But if none of that is working, then this is a good option. Okay, so how do you get this option? The way that you get this is by negotiating with the DA and getting the DA to agree to it. Many DAs are not going to offer this to you unless you ask for it. And many times it will take your attorney talking to the DA at several court dates, talking to the DA supervisor, showing them that, hey, this isn't a case that's just going to go away with the defendant getting a conviction on his or her record. This is one where we are adamant that we cannot have a conviction and let's talk about other options. That's how you get really good deals, which this one is. Now, this isn't an option that you would want to immediately ask for from the DA if this is your first time being arrested, for example. The time that you would use this is if the DA has been adamant that they really want this to be a felony. Maybe they're not necessarily asking for jail time or prison time, but they really want this to be a felony. This is another way to do it, to say, hey, if you think my client's a bad guy, my client is getting this period of time to basically prove himself or herself, so let's give them a chance to prove themselves. And it's really important to show my client is a normal, productive member of society, and here's what they have to lose with a felony conviction. That actually goes quite a long way. Now, one caveat is that if you do get in trouble again during that period of time, if you don't do your community service and you don't have a really good reason, you don't do your classes, then you can be sentenced on the felony. So it is somewhat hanging over your head, but for most people in this situation who are normal, productive members of society who just either got falsely accused or had a really bad night, whatever it may be, this is a sort of one-time occurrence. You're not going to have a problem with any of that, right? You're more than willing to do what you have to make sure that you protect your freedom and your future. One big part of the hack here is to ask for the case to be expunged when you come back. So most misdemeanors, they can be expunged after a year. But it's at the discretion of the judge. So if the judge is reducing, let's say it's been a year, you had to do a bunch of classes, okay, you did them, you come back, you haven't gotten in trouble, of course, you come back and your attorney is explaining, okay, this is what my client did, they haven't gotten into any trouble, we want to get this reduced to a misdemeanor, court looks at it, you've checked all the boxes, says yes. At that point, you've shown the judge something good about you, that you are a good, upstanding person, and you did what the judge probably would do if they got in trouble, which is do everything you can and everything that you're ordered to by the court to get this off your record. So it is the perfect opportunity to ask the judge to expunge the case at that moment. Let's say that fails, the judge says no, then you're going to have to wait generally up to another year to come back and ask the court to expunge your case. It's not the end of the world, but most people, they just want to put this thing behind them as quickly as possible. So a great idea is to just take that opportunity to ask for it to be expunged right then. I hope you found this video helpful. If you do have a criminal case in California, feel free to give me a call. You can find my number down below. You can also book a consultation there. And if you did find the video helpful, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell.